So, so I'm really a small fish in the big ocean of marketing. But I still, I did, but that has, we had so many discussion about how to package me, aside from just packaging the product. So this is a huge, huge endeavor for me to think about how to package me. So now it's just not the product line, it's really me. So, so that's quite a challenge. And when do I disengage from Healing Saint? And when do I just embrace Healing Saint under, Dr. Jane? So, I mean, but it seems to be working right now that it's Dr. Jane behind Healing Saint because there's so many product lines out there that could really like step on me in any direction. And I know that for a fact. And but I think we have very loyal clients from all over the country and also internationally. So that one I'm so grateful about. Even they're just it's not tremendous, but enough to pay for whatever I put out a little bit. But again, I know branding is a huge, huge amount of money, financial endeavor for me. So it's just a lot of consultation and a lot of prayers.
Spending as much time and effort as you can on building that primary brand will really pay dividends. It's a mistake that so many people who have not spent a lot of time in marketing make, is to try to populate as many brands or populate a very wide brand footprint and then discover later on the customer really isn't familiar with any of those brands because they haven't had enough opportunities, that they don't get to experience all of those individual brands based on the fact that you may only get one shot at a brand impression with those customers. So the more compact your brand architecture can be, I think the better the chance that you'll have that someone will remember the brand that you're trying to put out there. I think the Dr. Jane brand, not just as an umbrella brand, but as perhaps even the brand, would really be would be the way to go.
When you talked about packaging Dr. Jane, I was reminded of a case that I was looking at and considering using in one of my classes, which was about marketing Lady Gaga. So if you're ever interested in looking at that case, I can share that with you. It's kind of interesting. Unfortunately, we are not using that in our class. But I have one quick question because I'm looking at your questions, and one thing that comes to mind for me is, what is your relationship like with the medical community? In other words, is Wellness 360 something that physicians in general are supportive of? Or is it, I'm just trying to understand, do you have a referral base that can be built in, whether it's for Wellness 360 or Healing Saint, or?
It's a huge challenge, especially in a small town.
Right.
Where traditional medicine is deeply ingrained in us. And, to take this big leap, it's a huge commitment to me financially, as a professional, as a healthcare professional, because I can't taint my persona as an endocrinologist that I've worked so hard for so many years in just putting up Wellness 360, because this is cutting edge. It's everything is new. It's cash. I mean, why would you even think about it in a small place? It is a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge for the community to accept it. Especially I work for Marietta Memorial.
Okay.
So I mean, there's always a challenge. But again, it is what it is.
So do you receive any referrals at all from physicians?
I do. I mean, some of them are my clients too.
Understood.
It's a fine line that you have to tread all the time.
We listen to what our physicians tell us, well, most of the time, what our physicians tell us. And so if somebody says, oh, go see Dr. Jane, I think that could be a huge source of business for you.
Yeah, it's great. But wellness, who wants to pay cash? Who wants to pay for perfect health? Nobody. I mean, maybe there's just a few of us who want to do that.
Well, there are some models out there. There are private clinics. There are, have you heard of VIP, MD, VIP, the private physician?
Concierge?
Yes, concierge physician
It
practices
works if it's
in
not,
larger areas.
Yes. Yeah,
But-
and I mean, this is not the richest area
No, understood.
demographically. But again, I'm here, I'm very comfortable with my kids. I love what I do.
No, I understand.
So, I mean, but it doesn't mean that I cannot transcend beyond this area. That's why our marketing is beyond this area.
Absolutely.
So, but I mean, this is my hobby job, so that's what I look at it, and I'm just happy to see. I'm just happy to see it flourish from day to
Absolutely.
day. I mean, just seeing people happy about it, that it's there,
Sure.
and just to talk about it, even for my endocrine patients.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all. But pretty much, small business.
Understood.
I just had a question. I know nothing about business, so I won't be helping you. Is there a direction that your customers or your prospective customers move through your brands? Do people find out about, aside from the umbrella issue that you brought up, do people get into Healing Saint and then realize you have this, or do they find you have this specialized medical service and discover Healing Saint? And I'm wondering if that's an intentional piece. Are they going the way you hope they go?
Locally, it's actually they get to see me at my endocrine office or at Wellness 360, and they found out about Healing Saint. So nonetheless, we put it out on TV. That's the time that they would learn about Healing Saint locally. But outside of Marietta, it's really, Healing Saint. Outside of Marietta is Healing Saint because I cannot, I cannot market Wellness 360 outside. Although, regionally, I've been marketing Wellness 360 under the umbrella of Dr. Jane 360. And pretty much people come to Marietta for the services and Healing Saint. So that's why it's always a constant struggle for me. Here I have to be strong on the service brand than the personal care product line brand, but outside I have to be strong for the product care brand. So it's really a mixed emotion for me because then the one that will really that would sustain me financially is my service locally. But the one that will feed me out from the outside is my Healing Saint brand. So, that's why we decided that Dr. Jane 360 will be the umbrella brand.
Do I highlight my personal experience that serves? I would say as a viewer, as an audience member, I would say yes, because that would be more effective of having a paid person. Knowing that you went through it and how effective it was would want me to buy the product even more. And showing you before and after pictures, I think that's a judgment on your call because you don't want something that's so gruesome where you're going to hurry up and turn the page.
Yes.
But it's also maybe a couple weeks after show a picture like that, but I think it's more beneficial to have your own story because it's coming from how you feel and why it's so passionate to you. Because once they see the passion, it's going to reflect from the reader. And I'm going to get from that and why you love it so much and why
That's
I should
great.
buy the product.
I just want to make sure that I do this tastefully and not too abrasive to the readers or to the viewers. So that's great. So I would really look into that seriously.
I absolutely appreciate the branding and the umbrella, but at the same time, it seems like you're really shooting toward two entirely different markets. You've got the retail side. It's pretty much attainable by anyone as opposed to this ultra-premium personal care service. While I think the branding makes sense under the Dr. Jane umbrella, that there's really got to be two different approaches because you're selling to different people.
Yes.
To that end, on the marketing side, I was curious if you knew at what point will you consider that relationship? They've obviously done great things for you, gotten you, very high visibility through your PR company. But at what point do you use that and maybe ratchet it back and build off your existing audience to manage costs and to maybe focus in on the people that you've already got their attention?
It depends how many hours in a day there is. There are. So it's just right now I have to be very, very careful about my finances because I don't want to just go and go and go, and then before I know it, I can no longer do it. So I'm very, very conservative at this time. So I'm pretty much putting a lot of my money right now on branding, and the persona of Dr. Jane. Um, I think, yeah, I think your feedback is well taken. Your feedbacks are well taken because um, pretty much it's really hard to build a brand. I never knew that. I never thought that this is harder than being a doctor. I think I want to go back to my day job. But anyway, but it is truly, truly a huge, huge endeavor. I mean, that's why I salute you guys for doing marketing and economics. Oh my gosh. So yeah, this is really tough. And it's a really tough call because if I'm not careful with my finances, then this very promising product line would just go with me, down the drain. But I'm very conscious about it. And yes, that's why I'm just doing events that would be probably very significant for me.
In that
No,
vein, are you, what kind of analytics are you getting showing the traction that you get following these events? I mean, as far as web traffic or orders,
Yeah.
is there a pretty direct correlation as you appear in a magazine, you get a lot of
Yeah.
traffic the next day or a lot of orders?
Yes, yes, almost instantaneously. I mean, we had like so many media attention during the Grammys and the Oscars for a month, and that one was huge for me. I mean, we have so much traffic on our website, and we have really good sales, and those sales grew, and we have good loyalty, so customer loyalty, which is I'm so thankful about, because usually I think, people just want to try it and they just forget about it. But I think, I'm just lucky enough that we have loyalty right now. And I really want to keep the loyalty of my customers for now. I mean, But, I want to be big, but I wish I could be bigger. I mean, so.
I'll be introducing Brad Keller, who's a student at the University of Mount Union studying marketing and entrepreneurship. And he recently started a business called My University Listings, and he'll be talking about that today. His discussants are Professor of Management Information Systems, Jeremy Wong here at Marietta College, and Pamela Lankford, who is the Ohio Small Business Development Center here in Marietta.
How's everybody doing? Good. I don't know if anybody knows how far Mount Union is from here, but it's about 2 hours away. So after this, I got another 2-hour drive. So we'll get moving with this. Quick show of hands. Has anybody else in here, student-wise, either started their own business, been interested in starting their own business? Anybody? Okay, so we have a few. Okay, perfect. All right, well, one thing that I'm really going to touch on is what it's really like to be a student entrepreneur. So I'll get into that here in a little bit. So a little bit about myself. I'm a fifth-year student at the University of Mount Union, majoring in marketing, and I have 2 minors, entrepreneurship and computer network security. I did computer science for about 2 years, and really just wasn't for me, didn't enjoy it. So I got into marketing, and the way the classes are set up at Mount Union, I'm going a 5th year. But I've also completed 5 internships throughout my college career, 2 of which were with the Timken Company doing IT, and 3 of those were with the Cooper Tire and Rubber Company doing industrial engineering and continuous improvement with their Six Sigma group. So kind of weird. I'm a marketing major and I don't have any marketing internships, but I have a very wide range of other experience. And then, of course, one of the reasons why I'm here, I co-founded My University Listings LLC back in March of last semester. So, like I said, I want to touch a little bit on what it's like to be a student entrepreneur. You hear all these stories about, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates dropping out of college because they, started their business. But the reality of it is that barely happens. It's important to finish college. So, what I'm doing right now is I'm running my business literally from my dorm room at school. So my daily routine is generally very busy. I wake up around 7 a.m., do about 2-3 hours of business, go to class. I'm actually a student athlete also, so I spend about 2 hours at practice. come home, do homework, and then usually I send out a few emails before bed. But one thing that's super important is that it's all about balance. When I talk about balance, really, it's a balancing act between, you have your school and relationships on one side, and then you have your business on the other side. But of course, school and relationships need to be top priority. The reason why I say that is, in the uncertainty of today's, economy, 9 out of 10 businesses, I believe that's the statistic, fail when they start. So, you start your own business, you hope it succeeds, but you still want that fallback plan. So it's super important to stay focused in school. And relationships are important. I say that from a business standpoint. One way to look at friendships is they're free employees. I use, all of my roommates have helped me with my business. I get them to walk around campus for me and hand out flyers, and I don't pay them a dime. I might, buy them a couple beers at the bar later, but that's a different story. And then when I started this business, one thing that I noticed was the constant competition between business and sleep. So, you hear all the time about, oh yeah, I just started this business, I haven't gotten much sleep. That's 100% true. Before I started this, I had my afternoon naps. I used to go to bed at, midnight, wake up at 10. But now, when you have a full student schedule, the only time that you can fit your business in is you either wake up earlier in the morning or you go to bed later at night. I like the quote by Arnold Schwarzenegger, don't sleep longer, sleep faster. So I try to sleep as fast as I can. Also, you want to make sure you schedule free time, whenever you get the chance. I'm a huge Netflix addict. So my free time generally consists of spending an hour on the couch watching Netflix doing absolutely nothing. But also, honestly, the most important thing of all is just to have fun with your business. So I spend a lot of time talking to other businesses in the community. I spend a lot of time, doing things like this, talking to other students, and I have a blast doing it. So that's a big thing. Don't start a business unless you're going to have fun doing it. Big thing as a student entrepreneur is use your free resources to cut cost. So, if you're not a student, consulting can cost you some serious money. If you're a student, you have so many professors that'll help you out for free. I mean, my lawyer is the business law professor at Mount Union. I mean, if I wasn't a student, she'd charge me about $300 an hour. I get it for free. And then finally, I'm a huge advocate for the student excuse. Does anybody know what the student excuse is? Okay, so the student excuse is the fact that I can get pretty much any answer to any question I want by using these words. Hi, I'm Brad Keller. I'm a student at the University of Mount Union. Anybody will answer my question. Businesses want to help students out so much, so use the student excuse every chance you get. Okay, so into my business. So my university listings, it provides a safe and convenient community for college students and faculty to buy and sell items to one another. This acts pretty much just like Craigslist, but it's a heck of a lot safer. Now, when I say safer, I mean, there's no anonymous profiles on my university listings. Craigslist has had over 330 crimes committed due to the anonymous nature of it. Most notably, you hear about the horror stories. You hear about the murders. You hear about people getting ripped off all the time. That simply happens. We put a lot more safeguards in place to prevent that from happening. One thing that we do is you have to have a valid university email address to register for your university. So for instance, Marietta College, if you want to register for the Marietta page, you have to use your @marietta.edu email address, and it automatically checks that domain, meaning nobody in the community that isn't a Marietta student can register for the page. And also by doing that, your name is attached to every post that you ever make on the site, so everyone knows exactly who they're doing business with at all times. So there's zero anonymity. So with that said, it's free to use. We don't charge students anything. If students make a sale on the site, we don't take a portion of it. It doesn't cost anything to implement at the university. Basically, we make all of our money off of advertisements on the website. And I know, advertisements can be super annoying to look at. But what we try to do is we only sell advertisements to local businesses, businesses that will really benefit from increasing their student traffic. Generally, it's smaller businesses so that they can compete with the larger businesses by getting more business from students. But also on top of that, our advertisers generally provide discounts exclusively to our members. That's been the case at Mount Union. A lot of our site traffic comes from students checking our promotions page to see what the most recent deals are. So My University Listings, we like to say it was founded out of boredom but developed out of necessity. When I say founded out of boredom, the story kind of goes that me and my roommate of 4 years, Mitch, both on the track team, both entrepreneurship students, we were stuck on campus over spring break for track. And what does a normal college student do over spring break when they're bored? They start a business. That's normal. So we decided, okay, so first of all, it has to be cheap because we're college students. We don't have a lot of money. We have to be able to run it from our dorm room because we're not going to buy a place to run this. And it has to be up and running in a week because we wanted to start it in spring break. So with that in mind and a few beers later, My University Listings was founded. So the site was actually up and running and launched in a week. So we met our deadline of getting it up in a week. And when we first started it, we weren't really sure how it was going to go. We didn't do any market research, which I highly don't recommend doing. But luckily, we kind of stumbled on something. We talked to a lot of people after it was all launched, and we found out that this is really like a necessity, like for college students. College students are getting ripped off all the time, and this is something that's going to really help college students out. And since then, we're actively implementing in 6 universities throughout Ohio and Pennsylvania. So a little bit about the future of My University Listings. Right now, we're focusing on growth within the current universities. That's one of our top concerns because we're still, we just started implementing in 5 of the universities. One of the universities that we're in is obviously Mount Union, which I take care of. But within those universities, we really want to create a solid user base and start generating revenues from those universities before we really start branching out even further. But with that said, we do plan to expand to 4 more universities by the end of this year, Marietta being one of those universities. And kind of how we implement is we hire an intern within the university. So I'm actually searching for an intern at Marietta, so if you're interested, come talk to me afterwards. It is a paid internship, so you can make some money too. Another thing that we're looking into is we're improving our user experience and website reliability. Now, to do that, we've gotten a few quotes from web development firms throughout the United States and have gotten a few quotes trying to figure out how much it's going to cost us to get a custom website done that's going to be very reliable and easy to use for the students. And in order to fund that, we're currently pursuing a business accelerator loan through the TA2 Business Accelerator Alliance, Ohio. So hopefully that comes through for us in the next month or 2, and we can get things going with the website. And it'll also help with a marketing budget. So part of the reason why we're here is to get feedback from you guys. So one question that we have is, what are some cost-effective marketing strategies to reach a wider range of college students?